only available to passengers who have made a reservation. Passengers who have not 超大行李空间及每个洗手池旁的超大行李专区。
Okay, so I'm in Kyoto, and this is probably maybe my third time trying to make this Kyoto, Osaka, Nagoya, etc. video, and maybe third time's a charm this time, but it is mid-morning, and plan is to hit up some shops in Kyoto first, go to Osaka, spend the rest of the day there, and then spend the night. And then on the way back tomorrow, do Nagoya and Shizuoka, and back to Tokyo by nighttime. And yeah, I don't have any super aggressive buying goals at the moment. I'm pretty much, for the most part, pretty tapped out from earlier this month. I'm part of the tour group now. Alright, so it's about 3 o'clock now. I'm in Osaka now. Took the train from Kyoto down here. I'm gonna be here the rest of the day. The recommendation would be to actually take a regular JR line from Kyoto to Osaka, or vice versa if you're trying to go from Osaka to Kyoto. Just take the local train. It's only 15-ish minutes longer, and it's 2,000 yen cheaper. So just taking a regular train is fine. I don't take Shinkansen, but yeah, got here a little bit later than expected. I parked after finishing at the shops in Kyoto. Parked in Starbucks to finish the World Series. Probably not like super avid follower of baseball, but I did when I was a kid, and back when the East Bay had a team, the A's, and then when Ohtani came to America, followed the Angels for a few years, and that was pretty miserable. But whenever they would come to Oakland, I actually would go to the games whenever he pitched and hit, because it's pretty special to see that, because you never see that out of player. But now Oakland's left, and just kind of like fell out of it after he signed with the Dodgers. So just coming back to it, and being able to see kind of what transpired in the late innings was pretty crazy. Also pretty insane to think that like Yamamoto could be Cheeks the rest of his career, and like nobody would care. Like that's how crazy his performance was throughout the World Series. So I would say, having made this trip several times now, from Tokyo and doing a day in Osaka overnight, hitting Kyoto, Nagoya, maybe occasionally Shizuoka on the way back up. From Tokyo to Osaka, Shizuoka, Nagoya, Kyoto are basically all on the line on the way there and on the way back, however you want to slice it, and I do think that's like the best value for your trip expenses, proportionate to how many shops you're able to hit in areas, assuming like you're managing your time properly and not getting too lost or too caught up everywhere. But in terms of trip cost and time, all of that, I think you'll get the best, in my opinion, for myself. I get the most out of number of shops hit to money spent on train tickets. That's going to be the biggest expense. Assuming you'd only do like one night, just stay at a capsule, and that's only like $40 about on average. Having done like Fukuoka now, I think that's a little bit too far unless you fly. So like distance against like how much you're really gonna save, like Fukuoka pricing for stuff when I'd gone didn't feel too different from say like Nagoya or Kyoto. So it's obviously worth trying to go and going to Pokemon Center and kind of doing that for the first time. But like if you're seriously looking for cards and that's your main focus, it's worth a shot, and it doesn't hurt to pick up more stuff. Just know that like your costs are gonna vary, and you'll be putting a little bit more in versus like doing a straight line from Tokyo to Osaka and hitting places on the way back up. That Big Magic, and I've probably bought something from there once, but I do go in just because it's very central and you never know what you'll find. So we move on. So I'll probably talk through this before I forget, but one thing I remain pretty fascinated with in kind of like cards right now, and haven't like, I guess over the last year, this kind of thought has kind of evolved from, for me personally, from like cards in a really high grades, notably in the older stuff, that are extremely expensive, basically unobtainable for most people, in the like four-figure, like 2,000 plus range, with its raw copy in much cheaper, obviously damaged to some extent, maybe LP and below, in much more affordable price ranges. And that had been a focus for me for the past year, but I start to notice, especially at shows, where if a raw card itself is priced at, say, like 500 plus, especially like pushing 1,000 plus for just the raw copy in like less than PSA 8 condition, and I'm speaking generalizations, but those are like pretty difficult to move unless like it goes to like somebody looking to stream it. And I think where it might be headed, and kind of where I'm thinking of, is just like once a card gets that price, you might as well grade it just to see what it would get. To be fair, you don't really know for sure until the grader gives it a grade, whether it's a 5, 6, 7, and once you get that grade, it is a more objective number and easier to put it at some sort of value, even if there aren't sales. A lot of times you might be the only one with that grade. And as we move into this like era of institutionalization of lots of data out there, companies with money making, like putting insane capital into sourcing cards and even making offers on your cards, like there will be that option in the future to find another type of buyer who can spend that kind of money because it goes into like a GameStop live rip. And like for a card in that lower grade, I do think it is kind of like for the gamblers at least, it's kind of like a nice surprise to get an old, unobtainable, scarce card, or difficult to obtain, I should say, maybe not unobtainable, but like an interesting card. Maybe it's like a Neo Shining in a lower grade, or I don't know, like a vintage old back promo in a middle grade that has like that middle premium, but it's kind of like a nice surprise to get in a rip. On the other hand, like most of those people would probably open it and see whatever numbers in front of them, and they sell it back. But it is an option, and even with grading costs nowadays, like if you've already spent $500 on a raw card that might have a insane 10 premium, like what's putting another $40 towards grading it and at least giving it a more objective condition assessment rather than just blanket LP. Alright, so just came from the kyoto and didn't pick anything up. Much of the same, honestly. Decent prices, nothing too crazy. So I was just in here. I'm gonna do one quick check. Like that. This range of price is insane. This store in particular usually has a fair amount of high end. It's usually in this row and it's all gone. We just had a bunch of rain dumped on us just now, so the cards inside have bad activity. Dragon Star, card box. Didn't see anything crazy. Alright, so we're gonna go to this C-Dabo on the 5th floor now. Very popular location. Lots of very good selection. Prices are all over the place. Just gotta find the right card at the right price. So is life. This world pamphlet used to be dirt cheap. I think I bought one a couple years ago and graded them all. And 9s and 10s and maybe a couple 8s. I didn't go for much at the time. Alright, gonna run in here real quick before they close. They close early on Sundays for some reason. Close at 7. 6 months ago, these would have been over half of this price. Usually like pretty decent condition, probably similar to these, was like 20,000 yen back then. It's crazy how I say back then, but it wasn't even that long ago. These corrected damage versions are redder than usual. My phone's about to die, so I gotta pick and choose what I decide to pull the phone out for the rest of the night, but well, it's done anyway. I don't have too much more left that I really want to do. I feel like I've set out to do everything I need to do for the trip anyway. I think part of me even considered just like skipping Nagoya, Shizuoka tomorrow altogether. So that'll be a bit of a game time decision, but I'm gonna head down to the kind of southernmost tip of where all the card shops are based in here in Nipponbashi, and then might do like a couple more on the way back up and then grab dinner and then go to a hotel. Alright, so I just got out of Top Sun. Bought some stuff from their binder, mostly like ADV era stuff. Honestly, one of the best stores in Osaka. Just the selection alone, pricing's pretty decent, but you're also paying for what you get. So they'll have some good prices, but usually the cards are going to be pretty beat up. And I think good selection, like really, really strong selection across eras, conditions, and price ranges is really going to be the most you can ask for, because from there it's just finding what works for you, whether you're only looking to hit high grades or if you're looking for really good value. Then it just comes down to like prices and prices relative to condition.
180. 와,これ懐かしい。これ持ってる気がするな。本物やけど。First edition.
Alright, so rolling up on the hotel now, and yeah, finished for the night. What I didn't get on camera was going to Nin Meats and book off near Dotonbori. Didn't pick anything up. Didn't really see anything either, so it is what it is. Again, like I've picked up enough for what I need and what I set out to do. Like, I'm not even going to, I basically cut Nagoya and Shizuoka for tomorrow. I'm going back to Tokyo. I'm donezo. But I'll probably go back next month. Yeah, if I don't do a recap, I probably won't. Like if I do, like it'd be silent, just because in the hotel lobby it'd be kind of weird talking on the camera. But yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it just without any audio. And yeah, I mean, if you made it this far, I don't know. I didn't really have anything much useful to say, so sorry for wasting your time, I guess. Peace. We're a few days into the future now. It's Thursday. The Osaka Kyoto footage was from Sunday. I wasn't gonna show the stuff that was bought just because just couldn't be bothered to. But I'm going back to America tomorrow, and all the stuff has to get packed, or most of it. I might leave some of it here, but figure I might as well just go through some of it, especially the Osaka stuff that I bought, just to round things out. Funny enough, I'm supposed to go back today on Thursday, but I had some delivery issues with some packages that came in, so I had to get those sorted out. So decided to just reschedule, or at least cancel the flight that I had, get the points back, and then book a different flight for Friday. And that'll get me back in the Bay, right? Right on Friday afternoon, right before East Bay for the weekend. So that's that. I guess that's a good thing about having this place is the flexibility. If I was at a hotel, that would have been a lot more complex with like more rigid checkout structures. So got another Mew here. It's C rank, but condition itself checks out to probably like a PSA 7. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. I think the raw prices on these are trying to come down a little bit, so it's pretty good to see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say. That's also like why I'm not really too crazy about getting anything on camera, because up to this point, probably watched like, if anybody's even still watching or listening, about like 10-15 minutes of me saying a whole lot of nothing. So these were from Osaka, so some Poke Park hollows that are relatively clean, but exclusive, stamped, $20, pretty good. Suicune. I really like the artwork on this one, so that swirl up there. I don't really know why I bought this. I mean, at its cost. I looked at it in store. It was fine, but I'm looking at it now, like, and the front's kind of off. It's a little thick on the right side. And it looks pretty good, so yeah, it is what it is. Get to 9, and it'll just kind of sit. It's fine. $7, $6.50. Absol Hollow. Love it. Not bad. What's next? Let's go through here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I've been up to the last few days. Haven't been buying as crazy, even as, like, I honestly have enough. I said that already. But today I did, like, one more kind of lap through, a very, very quick lap through Akiba, just right before dinner. just want to hit up a couple of the good shops that I really like, and pick up whatever I can find before leaving. I mean, just at this cost, you kind of know what's going on. Scream side hook, about $5.50. Like, pretty good if you ask me. You look it up there, it's a little like, that's one of those book things that can end up doing. So you can get it to focus. No, my hand's in the way. Yeah, other than that, I've been pretty heads down on planning 2026. Friends are aware of what went up on Substack recently, and yeah, basically I spent the last week going back and forth through ChatGPT, just kind of brain dumping, having it do the writing portion for me, but through completely my lens. And like, I think the benefits is just a lot of the heavy lifting's done for you in terms of just putting thought into coherent words, and the rest is kind of operator control to ensure that like the facts are there and you're just keeping it in check with regards to what it's saying. By no means is it like 100% final. I think these things are meant to still be malleable in terms of plans, but with regards to like a kind of first pass, keep myself accountable, like this is kind of like the path for next year. I think that's what it does a really good job at, and it does a really good job at, you know, being, as long as you can control it the right way, being a mirror, giving different perspectives that otherwise would take a really long time to synthesize out of like other people's time, research, your own findings, etc. So it is a lot of these things all in one. It's not perfect, obviously, and I think it'd be pretty scary to like imagine a future state like that, but as it is right now, like it's doing a lot to help me, at least with I'm trying to open this envelope. It's helping me a lot out with brain dumping, brainstorming, just a lot of things in research and organization, like auto formatting, auto organizing thoughts, and bringing a lot of clarity to some of the chaos that kind of goes in my head. Sun faded Game Boy. I was pretty shocked to see this price. So yeah, basically, like, instead of locking myself in a Starbucks to try and kind of like put pen to paper, like the SpongeBob meme where SpongeBob only gets to the. Damn, what the hell? This back is clean. What the fuck? Like, this is how much I paid. What the hell? Damn, that's crazy. I'm just looking at it closer on the thing, and the back is. Yeah, that's what you want. Like, it's got a little stain up top, but you got that deep ocean blue on the back. Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions about, you know, AI and AI assisted research, at least for my use case and just like everyday use, is like it's not just putting in, spit out my 2026 plan. It requires a fair amount of input first to even get to that first draft, like that first version. And what was posted was like a version like 7.2 or something, according to it. And, it goes through a lot of different cycles to correct different lines, expand on different things, try and get the tone right, looking for different like perspectives through different kinds of lens, which I think does a really, really great job. And being able to do that over the course of a few working sessions rather than, putting putting one together myself and then trying to take it to different different people to look at, who have varying levels of perspective and experience in the space. Like using it to kind of bounce ideas off for where we're headed in the card space was really fascinating to me as well. So like the next step here for me now is taking that plan and then breaking even that down into just ideas for execution on, like, starting from now, actually, as soon as I get back home, because like you have something that looks pretty good on paper in terms of like 2026 roadmap, goals, deliverables, intentions, but you still have to execute on that. So from there, it's like, okay, now I have to work on individual quarterly planning, and for each of those kind of, like we think of like OKRs, like even those have to get broken down into deliverables by the week, and it's helping do a lot of that project managing for me. So like a lot of that cognitive bandwidth isn't spent on me trying to figure out what I need to do for the day. So we got a Misty Lorelei. This one, when I looked at it in store, it had a fingerprint on the back, so I was trying to get that off just now, but I don't have the appropriate lighting. Maybe I do now. Yeah, it was on the right side, so probably later when I get, when this gets worked on as in prepped for submission next month, I'll deal with it then. And my prep for submission just involves, like, to me, fingerprint is fine to try and wipe off your finger and, trying to flatten a card with, like, weight. Everything else I still don't really believe in at all. Just not a fan. Not for me. It's got a English Jolteon Gold Star. Felt this one was LP plus, near mint minus. I was seeing like PSA 6 for like 1,000, so I felt like this was better than that. Did have an old coworker reach out, and I learned that he is also collecting cards now, and he asked about like English Gold Stars and EXs, so he was interested in checking this one out. So, man, I don't want to grab it with my hand. I think what I'll probably do is just cap this at 20 minutes. My battery was kind of low going into the video anyway, so yeah, so we see here very minor kind of lipping there, but otherwise, like, a couple white spots in the corner, but got a swirl right there. Yeah, not bad. in there. Let's see, okay. Alright, so this was purchased in Kyoto. Was this? Yes, it was. I'm just trying to remember where it came from. And our favorite. 3 of these will go to PSA. One of them will be sold raw. Just averaging out the prices comes out to right around what it's going for now on a Card Rush. So right around like that 80,000 range. And we're pretty much back to where we were at the time of filming this, at least. Back to where we were at release pricing. So that's always a good sign. I feel like stuff's come back from grading. It's been a few weeks since release, and release pricing, like your window to get something brand new is always going to be right. They're right at release, or you gotta wait a little while, because after the Charizard came out, that thing shot up almost 2x to well into the 150,000, 130,000 range, I want to say. And now it's come all the way back down to where it is now, so always a good sign. This is not from Kyoto, Osaka, but another just cool, cheap singles purchase. A lot of VS. Never get tired of it. Some cool Delta Commons, Quagsire Hollow. Yeah, nothing crazy, just value. I really like the artwork on this Dragonite, so I picked it up. It's just a common, but it's a very, very, very nice watercolor style. Or at least that's what it looks like to me. Okay, so we'll go back into the deck box and go through this now. This is a Kyoto purchase from Shigabo, I think. Is it? I'm wrong. This was from... Oh, Dragon. It was in Dragon Star in Osaka. So, yeah, again, nothing crazy. There. Got some English cards. Shout out to Omar for finally pushing me to go to the store. When he was here a few weeks ago, he showed me all the English that he picked up from the shop. And I never went to this shop just because it was kind of far out of the way, out of, maybe not so far out of the way, but it was like kind of on the... You had to walk like 2 or 3 blocks away from Namba Station, and I was just always too lazy to go. And I did finally go, and they have a great selection. They have a lot of like Japanese across all areas. It's exactly what you would want out of card shop. Basically every era covered, and a lot of this English that was priced for the condition a lot better than their Japanese selection. Again, is this like the kind of stuff that you're gonna get rich on? No, like I don't think this stuff is still too far off from English pricing, but like the rationale here is that you're paying like similar English pricing but for better condition. So that's kind of where the value is gonna be, where like even though a lot of the stuff probably wouldn't go to PSA. Like, it's really good near mint minus, kind of like true near mint, in the PSA 8-ish sense. Like, it's a lot to spend for a common, but like these are pack fresh. Thought this was a really cool reverse. So yeah, I bought English. The sky's falling. All right, almost gonna wrap up. Got a couple more things to go through, and then I'll finally get to packing. Flight on Friday is at 9:30 p.m., which I've come to learn that's kind of like my ideal time to fly out, just because it gives me the whole day to either pack, prep, kind of get out to Narita, just because it's about an hour and a half, roughly, with some from where I am in Tokyo. So it does take a little time to get out there, and usually for most of the 4 p.m. flights, it just means that you have to kind of get out there, have to like leave at noon or so to feel like you're in a pretty safe spot with check-in on if you're flying Zip, and then United's always at like 4, so it is what it is. So for me, like, I like to be able to wake up and sleep in and not have to worry. Like, I don't have to worry about checkout or anything like that. So, like, I prefer to just know that, I could wake up and kind of do the day and then head out there. The receipt's in here. Got a couple more stacks to go through. Yeah, I think maybe one of the reflections I had on like the year, obviously with how crazy everything was with the market, or just like talking in general terms, but just prices and the overall activity and enthusiasm in the market made for like a successful year. Obviously, a very fun year. Wouldn't trade it for anything. But at the same time, like, equally tiring in terms of like travel. Just coming back and forth and being in a bunch of cities. Like, the second weekend of November is gonna be my first weekend that's completely free. As in, like, no show, not in Japan. Just the first weekend in the Bay Area with no plans. So, well, I do have plans, but they're not work related. Gonna go to the Tame Impala show. I don't know if I'm gonna go both nights. I have tickets to both nights, but don't kind of on the fence about going to both nights. Just given I'm not too crazy about the new album, so I don't know if I have to go both nights. I don't know if I have it in me to go both nights in terms of energy level. But I've got that going on. It's not work related, but at least it's just a weekend where no, I'm not on the road, not setting up at a show, any of that. Got more card ass, all really, maybe not that, but the rest of it's gonna go to PSA and another Mew. So yeah, I mean, with the year, part of next year's planning is just a lot of just having like an actual overarching mission for the year. It's not centered around growth. It's around just sustainability. I think it's about protecting what's been built this year, getting like systems that aren't half built, up to scale. Actually bringing on help. One of the brutally honest levels of feedback that that I got in my kind of advisor review through AI was based on all the information that they had. It's like, you've been doing this all for the most part your own for the last few years, and there's a breaking point, and I definitely felt that this year. So it's a long-winded way of just saying, like, there's normalized burnout, and I think that's just been like a consistent tired state throughout the especially from, if we go from April all the way to now, it's been really, really nonstop. And I've living and breathing this for the last 5 years, especially in the last two and a half ish years after leaving my job, where it feels like the only thing that I've done in my life is this. I think with next year's plan, it actually sets up a better foundation for the years, whatever they entail through 2030. And some of that includes stuff not directly related to Pokemon. So there's going to be some administrative stuff that kind of happens in the background that requires my intention to not only help the business, but get me to where I want to go, perhaps longer term. And some of that's centered around like life here in Japan, and building a life that allows me to truly come back and forth and truly integrate into society here as well, and just have kind of like another option given some of like the instability and how tough it is in America too. So that's not to say that it's an escape, but it's building another structure, allowing me to build another structure that is not only centered around my business, but around things, my values, how like my vision for how like how I would want my life to be, I guess, without getting too deep into it. But yeah, just in a societal point, I feel like I've over the last couple of years, like, just further and further integrating into society here, and part of that is legitimatizing it from a legal status. So that's another focus for next year, and that's just around building a stronger business, building a stronger structure in my life, and building something that like allows me to re-normalize my life again, if that makes sense. But anyway, that's about it. Got to go ahead and get all this stuff packed up, and do a little tidying up around the place, and that'll make the where I'm at now a much more welcome place when I come back next month. So, I'm gone on too long. Bye.